Welcome back to the Flyers TV Breaking News. Please subscribe to our channel and click also the bell notification for more updates. And for our story today.
The South China Sea, a cauldron of geopolitical tensions, witnessed another flashpoint in early 2025. A seemingly David and Goliath standoff unfolded between the Philippine Coast Guard and a colossal Chinese Coast Guard vessel. This incident highlighted the ongoing maritime disputes in the region and the Philippines' determination to assert its sovereign rights. The incident sparked international concern, drawing attention to the delicate balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. The stakes were high. The South China Sea, rich in resources and a crucial maritime route, has been a source of contention for decades. China's expansive claims in the region, often backed by its growing maritime militia, have raised alarms among smaller Southeast Asian nations. The Philippines, despite its limited naval capabilities, has consistently challenged these claims, advocating for a rules-based order based on international law. The latest incident, however, took on a symbolic significance. It represented the Philippines' resolve not to be cowed by China's growing assertiveness. The image of a small Philippine Coast Guard vessel confronting a much larger Chinese Coast Guard ship resonated with many Filipinos, evoking a sense of national pride and defiance. It also underscored the importance of international support for the Philippines' position, particularly from allies like the United States. The incident served as a stark reminder that the South China Sea dispute is far from over. It highlighted the need for continued dialogue, diplomacy, and a firm commitment to international law to prevent further escalation and maintain peace and stability in the region. On January 17, 2025, the Philippine Coast Guard vessel BRP Gabriela Silang found itself on the front line of a brewing maritime dispute. The Philippine Coast Guard crew had detected a Chinese Coast Guard vessel, the CCG 5901, operating within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, a zone extending 200 nautical miles from its shores. The CCG 5901, nicknamed the Monster Ship due to its massive size and intimidating presence, was seen as a symbol of China's growing maritime might and its assertive posture in the region. The encounter was tense. It was a tenseful challenge to the PCG. Here is the actual radio challenge made.
China Coast Guard Vessel 5901. This is Philippine Coast Guard Vessel BRP Gabriela Silang, OPV 8301. You are advised that you are currently sailing inside the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone, approximately 72.5 nautical miles from the coastline west of Capones Point, Zambales, Philippines. In accordance with Republic Act 12064, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, of which you are a party, and the 2016 Arbitral Award, you do not possess any legal authority to patrol inside the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone. You are directed to depart immediately and notify us of your intentions. Your illegal activity will be reported to higher authorities. China Coast Guard Vessel 5901. This is Philippine Coast Guard Vessel BRP Gabriela Silang, OPV 8301. You are advised that you are currently sailing inside the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone, approximately 72.5 nautical miles from the coastline west of Capones Point, Zambales, Philippines. In accordance with Republic Act 12064, the Philippine Maritime Zones Act, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, of which you are a party, and the 2016 Arbitral Award, you do not possess any legal authority to patrol inside the Philippines Exclusive Economic Zone. You are directed to depart immediately and notify us of your intentions. Your illegal activity will be reported to higher authorities. Over.
The Philippine Coast Guard, despite being outmatched in size and firepower, issued a radio challenge to the CCG 5901. The message was clear: the Chinese vessel was intruding into Philippine waters and was being asked to leave. The challenge, broadcast in English and Chinese, was a direct invocation of the Philippines' sovereign rights under international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The CCG 5901, however, did not alter its course. The Chinese vessel continued its operations within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, ignoring the Philippine Coast Guard's challenge. This act of defiance was seen as a deliberate provocation by many in the Philippines, further fueling tensions between the two nations. The incident quickly escalated into a diplomatic standoff, with both sides refusing to back down. The Philippine Coast Guard's actions, though seemingly futile in the face of the Chinese Coast Guard's defiance, were significant. They demonstrated the Philippines' commitment to defending its maritime claims, even when confronted with a superior force. The incident also highlighted the importance of international law and the need for a rules-based order in the South China Sea to prevent such confrontations from escalating into open conflict. The CCG 5901, a formidable vessel in the Chinese Coast Guard fleet, had been a source of concern for the Philippines for some time. Its movements in the South China Sea were closely monitored by Philippine authorities, particularly its presence near areas claimed by both countries. Prior to the January 17th incident, the CCG 5901 had been spotted in various locations within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, raising alarm bells in Manila. The monster ship was initially detected approximately 54 nautical miles off Capones Island in Zambales, a province facing the South China Sea. Its presence so close to Philippine shores was seen as a deliberate show of force by China, aimed at intimidating its smaller neighbor. The CCG 5901 then proceeded to sail near Lubang Island in Occidental Mindoro, another strategic location within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. The vessel's movements did not go unnoticed. The Philippine Coast Guard, utilizing its limited resources, tracked the CCG 5901's every move, carefully documenting its activities within Philippine waters. These patrols were not without risk, as the Chinese Coast Guard had a history of using aggressive tactics against Philippine vessels in the past. The CCG 5901's presence and subsequent radio challenge near Philippine territory underscored the volatility of the situation in the South China Sea. It highlighted the constant threat posed to the Philippines' maritime security and the need for enhanced capabilities to effectively patrol and defend its vast maritime domain. Following the tense encounter at sea, the Philippine government responded with a combination of diplomatic actions and displays of military readiness. The incident sparked outrage among the Filipino public, who rallied behind their government's firm stance against what they perceived as Chinese aggression. The government's response reflected this sentiment, demonstrating a commitment to defending the country's sovereignty. One of the first actions taken by the Philippine government was to issue a formal diplomatic protest to China. The Department of Foreign Affairs summoned the Chinese ambassador to lodge a complaint about the CCG 5901's incursion into Philippine waters. The Department of Foreign Affairs reiterated the Philippines' sovereign rights in the disputed areas, citing international law and the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal ruling, which had invalidated China's expansive claims in the South China Sea. In a symbolic display of resolve, the Philippine Navy conducted maritime exercises near Bajo de Masinloc, also known as Scarborough Shoal, a traditional fishing ground within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone that had been under Chinese control since 2012. These exercises, while not directly confronting Chinese forces, were intended to assert the Philippines' presence in the area and demonstrate its commitment to defending its territorial integrity. The incident resonated deeply with the Filipino people. An opinion poll conducted by Okta Research revealed that an overwhelming majority of Filipinos, 84%, supported the government's actions in asserting the country's maritime rights. This strong public backing provided the government with a clear mandate to stand firm against Chinese pressure and protect the country's interests in the South China Sea. Section 5. Echoes of support from across the Pacific. The incident in the South China Sea involving the Philippines and China did not go unnoticed by the international community. particularly the United States. The US, a treaty ally of the Philippines and a key player in the Indo-Pacific region, has long expressed concerns over China's assertive actions in the South China Sea and its implications for regional stability. During his confirmation hearing, US Secretary of State nominee Senator Marco Rubio highlighted the incident, emphasizing the growing threat posed by China to the Philippines and other Southeast Asian nations. Rubio's statement signaled a potential shift in US foreign policy towards a more active role in countering Chinese assertiveness in the region, particularly in support of its allies like the Philippines. The US has consistently called for a free and open Indo-Pacific, based on international law and respect for the sovereignty of all nations. The incident involving the CCG 5901 and the BRP Gabriela Silang was seen as a direct challenge to this vision, prompting concerns about China's disregard for a rules-based order. The incident underscored the importance of the US-Philippines alliance in maintaining regional security. The US has committed to upholding its defense commitments to the Philippines under the 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty, which obligates both nations to come to each other's aid in case of an armed attack. Section 6. The Law of the Sea. Philippines Claim. The Philippines' claim to the disputed waters in the South China Sea is not based on historical claims or arbitrary lines drawn on a map, but on a well-established body of international law, primarily the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. This international treaty, ratified by both the Philippines and China, provides a comprehensive framework for regulating maritime activities, including the establishment of maritime zones and the rights and obligations of states within those zones. UNCLOS defines an exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, as an area extending up to 200 nautical miles from a country's coastline, within which it has sovereign rights for exploring and exploiting, conserving and managing the natural resources, whether living or non-living. The Philippines, being an archipelagic state, has a vast EEZ that encompasses many of the disputed features in the South China Sea. Furthermore, the Philippines' position was bolstered by the landmark 2016 Arbitral Tribunal ruling. This ruling, issued by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague, invalidated China's expansive 9-line claim over most of the South China Sea. The tribunal unequivocally affirmed the Philippines' sovereign rights within its EEZ, including the right to exploit resources and enforce its laws within that zone. China, however, has consistently rejected the tribunal's ruling, calling it null and void, and refusing to participate in the arbitration process. Despite China's stance, the ruling is legally binding under international law and carries significant weight in the international community. Section 7. The Shadow of a Regional Conflict. The incident involving the Philippine and Chinese Coast Guard vessels cast a long shadow over the South China Sea, raising concerns about the potential for escalation and the broader implications for regional security. The incident was not an isolated event, but rather a symptom of the long-standing maritime disputes and the growing strategic competition between China and other regional powers, including the United States. The South China Sea, a vital waterway for global trade and a region rich in natural resources, has become a flashpoint for tensions in recent years. China's growing assertiveness, its rapid military modernization, and its expansive maritime claims have fueled anxieties among its neighbors, many of whom have overlapping claims in the region. The incident highlighted the risk of miscalculation and unintended escalation in the South China Sea. A seemingly minor incident at sea could quickly spiral out of control, particularly in the context of heightened tensions and mistrust between the parties involved. The incident also underscored the need for effective conflict resolution mechanisms and confidence-building measures to manage the disputes and prevent them from escalating into open conflict. Section 8. The Unfinished Battle for the South China Sea. The standoff between the PCG and the CCG, despite its seemingly localized nature, represents a microcosm of the broader geopolitical struggle unfolding in the Indo-Pacific. The South China Sea, with its strategic importance and vast resources, has become the epicenter of a contest for influence and dominance between China, the rising power, and the United States, the established power. China's assertive actions in the region, including its island-building activities, its growing naval presence, and its attempts to enforce its claims through maritime militia, are seen as part of a grand strategy to establish regional hegemony and reshape the regional order in its favor. This has alarmed the United States and its allies, who fear that China's actions could undermine the rules-based order that has underpinned regional stability and prosperity for decades. The incident highlighted the importance of international law and the need for a rules-based order in the South China Sea to prevent such confrontations from escalating into open conflict. The UNCLOS, while not a magic bullet, provides a framework for managing maritime disputes and ensuring freedom of navigation and overflight. Section 9. Maintaining peace in troubled waters. The South China Sea, a region of immense economic and strategic importance, stands at a crossroads. The path ahead is fraught with challenges as competing territorial claims, resource competition, and great power rivalry create a volatile mix. The incident involving the Philippine and Chinese Coast Guard vessels serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the region and the constant need for vigilance and diplomacy. Preventing further escalation and managing the disputes peacefully requires a multi-pronged approach. Dialogue and diplomacy remain crucial, providing avenues for communication, confidence building, and exploring potential areas of cooperation. Strengthening regional institutions, such as the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, can foster greater cooperation and provide a platform for addressing shared concerns. The international community has a vital role to play in upholding international law, promoting peaceful resolution of disputes, and ensuring freedom of navigation and overflight in the South China Sea. The United States, as a key stakeholder in the region, has a responsibility to support its allies and partners, uphold a rules-based order, and deter any actions that could destabilize the region. The road ahead will be challenging, requiring patience, pragmatism, and a shared commitment to peace and stability. The future of the South China Sea, and indeed the broader Indo-Pacific region, hinges on the choices made today.
Thank you for watching the Flyers TV breaking news. Don't forget to subscribe our channel and hit that bell notification for you to keep updated of the big breaking stories that we need to know. Keep safe, everyone, and God bless us all.